Evening, everybody. This is Dr. Hack, and we are back, guys, to look at some more Ruy Lopez. Now, we will be extending this video series by one video because somebody pointed out that I overlooked a move, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to leave you guys hanging on something. There are a few things that you need to know before we do this, and one of those things is that there are 4 videos now before this one in this series. And I do my best not to repeat strategies from previous videos, okay? So you might want to go back and take a look at those. I believe in you. If you think you can do it without doing that, you can hang out, no problem, okay? But if you find yourself struggling and not understanding some things, there are good chances that I did describe it in detail before this. Okay, those are only 10 minutes each, not so bad. The other thing is that we are taking this on from a beginner or an amateur standpoint. And that means that if we come across some very difficult strategies, then we're going to just talk about them. We'll understand them. And then we'll just not do them. We'll play different moves. Okay? Good. So let's get going on this. Oh, and you know what? We had the vote is closed. The next video series will in fact be on the Caro-Kann. I'm sorry if you're disappointed there. We do need to build a black opening against e4. And that's the one that got the most votes on the last video. So that's what we'll do. If you want to be here at the end of the Caro-Kann in a few weeks, then you'll have the chance to vote on our next one as we come back into it. Okay. Here's the move that I overlooked. I didn't think about f5 with you guys. And it's important that we do take this one seriously. Now, before I describe this to you, I do want to tell you that I believe in this opening. I believe in the Ruy Lopez. I think it's one of the best, if not the best opening in the entire game, right? And that means that if they're trying to do something to us, aggressive, to take that away from us, we can't let them do it. The black player does not get this opening. The white player gets this opening. And this is good for us, and we need to figure out why. Okay, if you are feeling angsty about this move, that's legit because our opponent, if you want to think about the psychology of what he just did, he is coming at us aggressively, no holds barred, right? He is coming at us with everything he's got. And the reason we know that is because what he gave up to do that. Remember, every time you make a move in chess, you give something else up to do it. He moved the f-pawn, which gives him an open square here next to his king. Well, that's important because if he castles, maybe this bishop can give him a check along this diagonal. This is going to be an open line to his king. His king safety is in trouble. And if king doesn't castle, we've got this open line to his king starting here. There's going to be checks. His king is not going to be safe in this opening. Okay, so you've got this all-out aggressive fighter, maybe a barbarian if you want to picture it that way, with a foaming mouth coming at you with a club. Of course we're nervous. But this is our opening, and we're going to rise to the occasion, and we're going to take this one on. Okay, so the first thing to really get is that we have 3 weak places in the Ruy Lopez in the early moves, and they are here, the 3 rings for the Elven Kings. It was their weakness too, if you saw those films. This is our weakness. And because, these are the places where nothing else is defending. They're by themselves. And so he has made a move that is attacking one of those places, right? It's actually the same thing that they did in the last video when they played this knight out and attacked this one. This is one of those weaknesses. Okay, now this one he's being a little bit more feisty. So what are we not going to do, right? We are not going to take this pawn. And why wouldn't we do that? This is kind of, if you really think about what this pawn was doing here, this guy was holding your entire front line together. He is keeping all of black's stuff out of the middle just by being there. And without him being there, things like this could happen. And now our knight's going to have to move, right? And then this pawn could come in, and it could defend it and back it up. And then he's going to be bringing all of his bishops in the game and his knights, and he's going to be attacking us, and we have nothing in the middle to counterattack. This is going to be rough. We're probably way behind already if they were to do it this way. So we can't give up our pawn in the center. He is the linchpin of our whole game. And as soon as we understand that this is the most important pawn in our entire game, we would know then that we need to back him up. And we need to make sure we give all the resources we can to keep a pawn at this place on the board. Okay. Now there are a couple of things that he could do, I suppose, if we flipped it and looked from his point of view. There are a few things that he could do. He could attack this pawn many more times. Let's look at that for a minute. Right? What if he captures it and captures it back and brings another knight to attack it? Well, he has now spent 3 of his first 5 moves attacking this pawn. Now go with the psychology of that for a minute. Do you think he's fixated on this pawn? Yeah. And do you think if you try to back it up with a knight, let's put yourself into his shoes for a minute. What are you going to do to keep attacking this? Because that's where your eyes are right now. Right? Well, you're going to remove the defender. You're going to pin the knight. This would be a very easy move for black to find. We don't really want to give them easy moves if they're attacking players. We want to make their moves hard. We actually want to give them moves that look like when they attack and do stuff, it actually makes them lose. That would be our ideal situation, because their aggressive nature will then fight against them, and they'll have to rein it in if they want to not lose. So that move is the most popular move in the game, and yet I find that move to be lacking. It doesn't give our opponent enough rope to hang himself with. So what we need to do is we need to let this pawn go, because if we let the pawn go and he takes it, because that's what he's staring at, he's going to lose. This is really bad for him if he takes the pawn. Really, really bad. And I want you to kind of figure out why. Can you do that? Pause the video if you have to. What is white's real advantage now? Okay. Remember, if you're solving a tactic in a game, what you're looking for is things that aren't defended very well. This knight is not defended very well. This pawn is attacked once and defended once, and the defender is under attack. So we have this pawn being weak and this knight being weak. All we really need to do in order to start taking advantage of that is to attack those weak spots. And we see there are several ways to do it. And one of those ways is to move the rook over. Now, if you put this on a computer, you'll find the computer gives you a different move. But this is the principled move. We're going to go through the middle. We're going to get at his king before he's even ready. We're going to turn this script on its head and make the attacker be attacked and see how they like it. Because we know that attack is better than defense. And that's what we're doing. Okay, now remember, we had a problem with this idea in a previous video in the open Ruy Lopez, because black was able to play the knight here, and he was able to force us to make a hard choice about our bishop, whether we take the knight or whether we don't. And remember, we think this bishop is stronger than this knight. We are not going to take the knight unless we can win something when we do it. Well, luckily, we don't have to make that choice here. Because if we take the pawn, our bishop is safe by tactic. And let's see if he takes it. This is white to move and win. Can win big material now. Right, so you've got a discovered attack, right? The king is going to be in check if you move this knight anywhere. Well, what if you move the knight off this way and take this guy? He's in check and his queen's under attack. You're going to get a whole queen doing this. Whoa, right? So he can't take your bishop. It's kind of defended by tactic. He must do something else. Let's try this. He did something else. He blocked our check. Okay, great. Well, remember, we had other ways to get to his king because he moved this pawn. What happens if our queen now comes out and starts attacking him? Maybe he'll block, right? Well, if he blocks, do you see how this rook is now a vulnerable piece in a tactic? It's not defended by anything. This one's important now. And we can take the pawn because this pawn couldn't take him back. We'll get a whole rook if he does that. And actually, we'll get a whole rook if he doesn't do that too. What, right? If he moves the rook anywhere, all we have to do now is make a move that is a discovered attack on the king. And now we're going to get the rook if we want it anyways. Oof, right? He's done. This guy, you can put a fork in him. As a matter of fact, I think we just did. Okay, so basically what we're saying is that we can attack black because we used his aggression, the fact that he wanted this e4 pawn against him. We out-psychologied him. And I think that's the right way to take on a very aggressive player. Offer him a chance to attack when it doesn't work. So this is going to be a very tactic-heavy video. You can already tell, right? Okay. Well, let's say he doesn't take the pawn. Well, I mean, maybe he's wise. Maybe he's played this a few times and he understands. If he doesn't play this bishop outside the pawn chain, well, let's take a look at it from his point of view, right? Because we're kind of expecting that black will play the king over here to castle at some moment in the future. And this rook is going to be sitting exactly on f8. And it's going to be aimed down the f-file towards whatever it can hit down there, namely f2, right? This is the pawn around the king that he's trying to weaken. Okay, if his bishop doesn't go to c5 before he closes up the pawns, he's giving up one of his attacking pieces to that square. So if he were to play the move d6 right here, we would actually be kind of happy. At least I would be, right? Because his attack is going to be a little bit weaker than it would have been otherwise, and we can just go on with our game now. Game on. Let's play. Okay, so maybe he should play the bishop outside the pawn chain before he closes it in, just out of principle, to make his attack stronger on f2. Well, I don't know. Because I don't feel like this is a particularly great move, because he just created a new tactical weakness for himself. He's attacking with no regard for his own safety. And that's the kind of player we've got here, right? We know this is going to happen. So can you think of a way to take advantage of that? I don't know. I don't think I could have until somebody told me, but maybe you guys are better than me at this. So, what if we make a queen move? How do we stop him from castling? How do we really keep his king in the middle? Let's go like this. Or let's go queen e2. I don't know. It doesn't matter which one. As long as we can get up to c4 to attack the bishop when we need to. That means he can't castle anymore, because this check will actually win the piece. It's hanging. He can't do that. So now his king is in the middle. Okay. When you have a king in the middle of the board and you want to attack it while it's in the middle of the board, we have to make sure it stays in the middle of the board. And so when you look at this next move, it may look strange. It may look like a move that you couldn't come up with, but actually we can. Because all we're doing is we're trying to keep his king where it is attackable. We're trying to take this aggressive player and use his aggression against him. Don't let him castle. Okay? And if he gets ready to castle, if he's really thinking about it, maybe he'll play the queen up here to try to either put the bishop in the way so he can castle or try to trade queens off. Don't know which one it is. But all of a sudden, these big tactics start showing up. There were little tactics before. Now there's big ones. Okay, and these are actually really fun. Now, you don't have to use these, right? If you just want to take this game and go, hey, he's got 4 pieces in the game. I've got 4 pieces in the game because my move is going to be here. That's fine. That's a good move, right? But what if you look at this board differently? What if you look at it from a tactical standpoint and you say, where are the weak spots? Well, there's only 2, right? And he just covered one of them. Now, what do I mean by that? A minute ago, this knight was pinned, this pawn was attacked, and this pawn was trying to defend that one and the bishop. So you could have done something like knight takes pawn, and when he takes you back, you could have taken this bishop. That was a weak spot. He covered that by playing queen up here. He's now no longer allowing that. But this one, you're attacking this one time, and it's guarded 1 time. That's also a tactical weak spot. And so what happens if we play a move like this one? Well, that's crazy, right? Crazy talk. He can't take it. As a matter of fact, he can't move this bishop because you're attacking this weak spot a second time if it moves. Wow, right? Look at this. We take a knight. He takes it back. We get a fork. Whoa. We could also have just taken the bishop, huh? That would have been pretty good too. And so there is some real big troubles here for black. He's going to lose a whole rook now. Zoinks. That's not good, right? So we have all these tactical opportunities as long as we care to use them. And you're looking for places that you're attacking the same number of times they're defended, or you're looking for places that are not defended at all. Okay, good stuff. And I think that's how we take on this F5 move. We have to be aggressive right back at him, but we're going to be aggressive in a controlled way. We're going to let him throw his punches and let them miss, right? And let him wear himself out. And especially when it comes to this pawn here. I sure hope this video helps somebody. I sure hope it helps you take on this aggression with f5. You guys have a good one. Take care. Bye now.